Ever wake up and think, why does my alarm clock hate me? You're not alone. Each day is a boxing match with the snooze button, a war of attrition that starts before the sun even has the courtesy to rise. You may have also found yourself stuck in the unforgiving clutches of morning traffic, where the only thing moving slower than the cars is the minute hand on your watch. And let's not even get started on the heart-wrenching tragedy of leaving your lunch at home. The aroma of homemade pasta or mom's chicken salad left behind on the kitchen counter. Oh, the horror. But hey, we all have these daily struggles, and in a weird way, they're kind of comforting, aren't they? They're universal, shared experiences that remind us that we're all human. And in this crazy world, that's a good thing to remember. But hey, at least we're not alone in this, right? Now, let's talk about a friend of mine. His name's Bob, and Bob has a pet elephant. Nope, not the kind you're thinking of. This elephant isn't like the ones you see at the zoo, with their playful water antics and charming trunk waves. No, this elephant is a little different. Bob's elephant is invisible, and it's a metaphor for something much bigger, much heavier: depression. Bob and his elephant, they go everywhere together. To work, to the grocery store, even to the gym. Now, imagine trying to squeeze an elephant into a Prius, or trying to fit it into a narrow grocery aisle. It's not an easy task, is it? And that's how Bob's life is every single day. When Bob is trying to focus on a presentation at work, the elephant is there, trumpeting away in his ear, distracting him. When Bob is at the grocery store trying to decide between organic or regular apples, there's the elephant, knocking over displays with its big, clumsy feet. And at the gym? Well, let's just say the elephant isn't exactly a fan of treadmills. But Bob, he's a trooper. He doesn't let his elephant ruin his day. He navigates the world with a sense of humor and a lot of patience. He's learned to laugh when the elephant knocks over the canned goods in aisle 3, and he's even found a way to make his elephant do some heavy lifting at the gym. The thing about Bob's elephant, though, is that it's not just an inconvenience. It's a constant, heavy presence, always there, always getting in the way. It can be exhausting, frustrating, and downright mood-ruining. But Bob, he's not one to give up. He's not one to let his elephant dictate his life. He's learned to live with it, to manage it, to even laugh at it sometimes. So Bob's got an elephant, a big, heavy, mood-ruining elephant. But guess what? Bob's also got a plan. Bob's plan? Well, it's not exactly rocket science. It's more like elephant taming. Now imagine that the elephant is your depression. A big, heavy, sometimes stubborn creature that you have to live with every day. Bob, like many of us, has his own elephant. But it's not all doom and gloom, because Bob, you see, has a plan. First up, Bob uses positive affirmations. He tells himself, Bob, you're a fantastic elephant tamer. And Bob, even though this elephant is a bit of a handful, you're doing a great job. It's like a pep talk for your soul. And it works wonders. The elephant, hearing these affirmations, might sit down for a while, or maybe it's just too busy munching on those positive vibes to cause any trouble. Next on Bob's plan is exercise. Now, we're not talking about turning into a gym rat overnight. No, Bob knows that even a little movement can do a lot of good. So he takes his elephant for a walk. Perhaps they'll take a stroll in the park, or maybe they'll just do a few laps around the living room. Either way, it gets the blood pumping and helps to keep that elephant in check. Finally, Bob isn't afraid to reach out to friends. Just because he's got an elephant doesn't mean he has to deal with it alone. He's got a whole squad of fellow elephant tamers who are more than happy to lend a hand. They might not be able to take the elephant away, but they can certainly help him manage it. So there you have it. Bob's three-pronged approach to elephant taming: positive affirmations, exercise, and a little help from his friends. It's not about getting rid of the elephant. It's about learning how to live with it, how to manage it, how to tame it. So the elephant's still there, but Bob, he's learning to lead the circus, not be part of it. Now, Bob's elephant isn't exactly a secret. It's pretty hard to hide an elephant after all. So one day, Bob decides to confront the elephant, to speak about it with his friends and family. Now you can imagine their surprise when Bob, during their weekly Taco Tuesday, says, "Well, folks, I have an elephant." There are raised eyebrows, a few choked-on taco moments, and even an overly dramatic spit take from Uncle Larry. Then Bob clarifies, no, not a real one. It's a metaphor for my depression. There's a moment of silence followed by Aunt Martha asking, "Is it house-trained?" Yes, Aunt Martha, depression is completely house-trained. It even knows how to make a pot of coffee in the mornings. But all jokes aside, Bob's bold move of opening up about his elephant is met with a mix of reactions. Some are supportive, others are confused, and some just don't know what to say. It's a bit like when you accidentally put hot sauce on your apple pie instead of caramel. It's unexpected, but it's already on the table. Bob's brother, for instance, is a bit like a deer caught in the headlights. He mumbles something about taking the elephant for a walk, which Bob appreciates, even if it's a slightly misguided attempt to lighten the mood. Then there's Bob's best friend, who, after a moment of shock, jumps into action like a superhero. "We'll tackle this elephant together, Bob. I've got your back." And that's the kind of support that makes an enormous difference. It's the kind of reaction that makes the elephant seem a little less intimidating, like a giant gray wrinkly puppy rather than a mammoth beast. So, friends and family might react differently. They might not always say the right things, but opening up about the elephant means that Bob isn't dealing with it alone. And that's a huge step in the right direction. Remember, folks, elephants can't exactly fit in closets. Sometimes you just gotta talk about the elephant in the room. So Bob's got a circus going on, but remember, it's Bob's circus and Bob's rules. Now you might be thinking, a circus, really? But bear with me here. Every circus has its star attraction, and in Bob's case, it's the elephant, his depression. But Bob, he's not just a spectator anymore. He's taken charge. He's become the ringmaster of his own life. Picture this. Bob, in a flashy ringmaster's coat, top hat, and a megaphone in hand, is steering this massive elephant around the circus tent. It's not easy, no sir. The elephant is big, stubborn, and sometimes it just doesn't want to move. But Bob, he's learned the tricks of the trade. He's learned that sometimes you have to coax it, and other times you have to stand your ground and say, "No, Mr. Elephant, you're not going to squash my plans today." Bob's circus is not about making the elephant disappear. No magic tricks here. It's about managing it, living with it, and not letting it take over the show. It's about understanding that the elephant might always be a part of his circus, but it doesn't have to be the main act. And what's a circus without a little fun? Bob's circus is filled with humor, laughter, and a lot of self-love. Bob's learned to laugh at the elephant's antics, to enjoy the show, and to embrace his circus for what it is. He's learned that it's okay to have off days, to stumble, to fall, because at the end of the day, it's his circus and he's the one calling the shots. So, next time you see an elephant, remember Bob, remember the circus. And remember, it's your circus, your rules. It's not about getting rid of the elephant, it's about learning to live with it, to manage it, and to still have a good time. Because life, just like a circus, is meant to be enjoyed, elephant and all. So what's next for Bob and his elephant? Well, Bob's story doesn't end here. Every day, he continues to dance with his elephant. And guess what? He's getting pretty good at it. He's mastering the art of turning his struggles into a graceful ballet of resilience and courage. There are still days when the elephant seems too big, too heavy, but Bob doesn't let that stop him. He takes a deep breath, puts on his ringmaster's hat, and guides his elephant back into the ring. He's learned that it's not about making the elephant disappear, but about learning to live with it. And here's a little twist. Bob is now considering a career as a professional elephant tamer. Who knows, he might just start his own circus one day. Remember, folks, everyone has their own elephants. But like Bob, we can all learn to be the ringmasters of our own circuses.